Hey you guys, I'm back with another video. So, I watched the first two episodes of Syfy's Deadly Class, and I'm planning on doing a series review. I know, like, if you actually look at my channel, then every other series review I've done hasn't gone well, per se. Because I would watch the show for, like, a while, maybe like a season or two, and then I'd stop liking it. Like Marvel Spider-Man, I watched till episode 5, and I stopped watching and reviewing them because I just didn't really like the show. And then Riverdale, I watched till season 2, and I'm like, I don't know, I just kind of stopped enjoying it myself personally. If you like it, that's fine. But yeah. But this is one of my favorite comic book series, so I was trying to stay as close as I could to the production of it, and we're gonna see how it plays out on the TV screen, how closely it adapts the comics with the show. So, in the first episode, we have it's basically just the first 3 issues, maybe 2 issues, give or take. So, it's just the introduction of Marcus, and all the characters, obviously. It starts off with the principal giving an assignment, and the introduction to school, and then we get Marcus's backstory about his and they follow it really well, I think, because the reason I like the comic book so much is Marcus's character, because I think he's a really introspective character. He's kind of deep, really thought-provoking monologue, if you will, and I really like that, and I think they do a top-notch job at keeping that intact. And then with episode 2, we'll get into that later, but episode 1 is a really good depiction of the comic. They leave some stuff out, obviously. I think in issue 2, there's a shower scene with all the guys, and they bully one of the kids, Shabam or Chadman, whatever his name is, and yeah, so they left that out, obviously, and yeah, there's so I think it's a pretty good adaptation. I feel like it's interesting because I feel like they've given the teachers and the principal a bit more character than they have in the actual comic. It's not like a bad thing per se, because giving the side characters more character in the show, that's not necessarily bad. But I think it's an interesting take on it because because in the comic it's mostly just follows the students, and we do get some stuff from the headmaster every now and then to see what he's doing, because he seems to be scheming a lot of the time, and so we just follow all the students, and then the main differences, I think, from the comic are there's no assassin psychology or anything, and then we have Billy is actually he's more of Marcus's friend, I feel a lot more than he is in the first couple volumes. And then Victor, they play a kind of a prank on Victor, which I think is whatever, because in the comics Victor is more of a serious character, but it seems like in the show there's more of a he has more jokes, more humor to him. But I'd give episode 1 definitely an A-. I think it's a really good episode. Follows the comic really well. And it's not always necessary to follow the comic. As I mentioned before in my last review, you don't always have to follow the comic book perfectly, because that would be praising it for superficial reasons. So you don't want as long as you keep the characters intact and to keep the spirit of the show intact, of the comic, of the comic intact, that's all that really matters. You don't need to keep everything perfectly adapted, because some things are unadaptable, and that would be just liking it for superficial reasons. So, the main thing is, well, I also messed up on the first episode. So the first episode, Willie they help each other with the assignment like they do in the comic, of course. And but they do have a good interaction in the show, which is not present in the comic, where Willie is driving Marcus around, and then they talk about comic books, and then Willie brings up the Dark Phoenix saga, Chris Claremont and whatnot, and he's like, because Marcus deflects superheroes, and he's like, oh, superheroes are, mainstream male garbage, something like that. And then Willie's like, Dark Phoenix, Chris Claremont, that's good shit. So I think that was a good interaction. And, so that's not present in the book, but I really like that they added that in there. And then, with the comic and the show, there's a big plot point that's added from the show, which is weird. So, in the comic, Marcus just kind of lives on the streets like in the show. But when they get to the assignment, he almost lives in a homeless camp, under the bridge. And he gets there's this one, I guess the top dog of the homeless, and he steals a lot of stuff, and he steals a picture from Marcus. So Willie and Marcus go on the assignment, and then they go to the homeless camp where Marcus used to live, and they kill the guy that stole Marcus's picture. And Willie, of course, is still a pacifist like in the comic, which is good. So they stay very true to the characters, which I like. And then, they burn the body, and they Marcus and Willie go home, and that's more or less the end of the episode. There's a party scene on the roof. That's about it. In the comic, however, it's a bit different, because Willie and Marcus are kind of just they take a train, and then they talk about the Smiths, and they go to they do go under the bridge where the homeless live, and they hang out with Marcus talks to his buddy about Rory, and then because in the first issue, a homeless guy steals Marcus's shoes, and then Marcus thinks about killing him, but he's looks at his feet, and he notices he's got all sorts of they're really gross looking feet. So he's like, okay, fine, take the shoes, just give me the. Cause he steals Marcus's shoes and his backpack, so he's like, give me the backpack, you can have the shoes. So then Marcus goes to talk to his friend under the bridge, and he's like, yeah, go kill this guy, he's a real bad guy, because he burned kids alive and everything. And they go look for the guy, and it's the guy that stole his shoes earlier. So it's a bit different, there's no real camp or anything. They just sort of kill a random homeless guy. And so yeah, that's because Willie is talking to the homeless guy, and then Marcus comes up behind him and just beats him. So of course Marcus still does the killing in both the comic and the show, but there's a minor difference. And then episode 2 is where it really takes quite the left turn from the comic. Because I don't know if they're ever going to do this in the show or not, but because in the comic we have Marcus and Willie kill like a homeless guy, and then they more or less just go on a giant drug trip. They go to like Las Vegas, and they just go on like a big old adventure, and they kill Billy's dad, and Marcus and Maria almost have sex. So I don't know if they're ever going to do that in the show or not, but we'll see. But episode 2 in the show, Master Lin gives them an assignment, and they like puts poison in the air, and they have to go down to like the botanical gardens to find the antidote. So they're locked in, and then Marcus steals one of Brandy's hairpins, picks the lock. They go down there, and then they run into I think somebody steps on one of the blocks, and then some bad guys pop out, and then they take care of them, and then they of course find the antidote, and then Shabman throws a party because he's like running for president, and of course he gets bullied like in the comic. So he's throwing a party, and then because he goes and sits by Marcus because Marcus defended him, and then Billy and Lex and Petra are all kind of like, hey, let's, you can't just throw a party for like a few friends. If you want to be class president, you gotta throw the party for everybody. So then, Chapman has this huge party, like with pretty much like the whole, I guess it could, maybe not the whole school, but like a lot of people from this school. And Willie's there, but in the show, Willie like takes all the credit for Marcus's kill, and Marcus gets tired of Willie taking credit, so he eventually flips out. And Billy has a crush on Petra, which I don't think that happened in the comic. I'm pretty sure they were just friends, but whatever. But Marcus and Willie do have one of my favorite conversations in the second episode, which is when Marcus is listening to the Smiths. And it's like yo, what do you listen to? The Smiths. I mean, that's depressing shit. Sort of gay, isn't it? If by gay you mean brave and honest. Whining over a guitar ain't brave. I don't know, it's hard to express honest emotions and be fearless about sadness. Most people walk around hiding it as if it's a weakness, acting though as if they can fool people into seeing them as something they aren't. It's braver to be honest than to pretend. So, I like that interaction they have, and that's in the second episode, which is cool. And Lex is basically just a dick, which again I'm not sure is, I don't know if it's accurate or not, but yeah. So Billy tries to hit on Petra, and then Marcus is basically just going through like a lot of like anger and whatnot, because he's like, he doesn't really like being at this party, so he like listens to music, and then Willie judges him. And he's going through a lot of guilt, like with the kill. He like keeps like seeing that, and he's trying to like blow it off and like just like relax, but it's hard to. And then some guy comes in. I'm not sure who he is, because I don't think I've ever seen him in the comics, but he's like just like has a beard, and he's at the party, and he like smokes weed with Marcus. And then let's see what else happens. Billy hits on Petra, and then she like just goes and has sex with Victor randomly, which is that's really, really weird. Because in the comic they do have sex, which is, whatever. That's a bit more like Petra just tells a story about it, but then, well, they don't. No, that's a lie. They don't have sex, actually. My apologies. If I remember the book correctly, they're about to, but like Victor, he can't get it up, so then Peter's like, fine, you know, whatever, and then Victor lies about it. But in the show, maybe it's implied they have sex, I guess, for no reason. I'm not sure what psychologically what's going on there, because I'm sure there's supposed to be like an implied reason as to what's going on with Petra, but I don't know why. Because if a guy asked you out, I don't know why you just would go randomly have sex with a different guy. But you know, that's a thing that happened. And then Saya hits on Marcus, kind of. It's implied she's drunk, but it's hard to tell. And then Chico and Maria don't go to the party because, you know, that's lame, obviously. So he goes and takes her out on a date. And this is where I feel like the show kind of meh. Because Saya and Maria they're like roommates. And they start like talking about Marcus. You know, like, oh, you like him or not? And that's kind of where the show, like, the episode went down a little bit for me, is because I feel like that's not really Saya and Maria's vibe, because they haven't really talked like a whole lot I don't think they really talk at all in the comic, but and that seems like it'd be Maria's vibe, but I don't really see Saya like talking about boys or anything. That felt a little out of character for her, but whatever. So yeah, I would give episode 1 like a A-, and then I'd give episode 2 maybe like a B+. So yeah, hopefully this, if you guys like this review, then I'll do more of these, and especially if the show stays going, then of course I'll do more reviews. Hopefully it won't end up like Riverdale or the Spider-Man show I reviewed. Thanks for watching. If you have any ideas for a video, leave them in the comments below. If you're interested, I'll be doing a live stream on Friday at like 1 o'clock. Should be like probably Spider-Man, I'm assuming. I haven't decided what I'm going to play yet. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next comic book review.